I'd say Tommy Tubberville has some explaining to do.
If Tommy Tubberville moved back to Alabama in August of 2018, why did he vote in Florida 3 months later? Tubberville says he wants to make sure nobody votes where they're not supposed to, and have I got a story for you. To run for governor in Alabama, you have to have lived in the state for the last 7 years, and Tubberville has had a hard time showing that. Because who's going to live in a 3-bedroom, 1-bath house in Auburn, Alabama, when you have a $4 million beach house on the Florida Gulf Coast?
With the white sands and the blue water. What a great place to live.
More than a year ago, I challenged Tubberville to show where he paid his state income taxes. Others did too. He scoffed, he obfuscated, he stalled. But this week, the Alabama GOP let a primary opponent move forward with an election challenge, and Tubberville finally handed them over 7 years of tax returns.
Good.
And they back him up. So is this case closed? His tax records show he became an Alabama resident again in August of 2018. I feel a but coming. But Florida election records show he voted in Florida 3 months later, that November, after he supposedly moved back to Alabama.
If we don't secure our federal elections, we will become a banana republic.
That's right. Tommy Tubberville, who stands on the Senate floor demanding the SAVE Act stop people from voting where they're not supposed to, voted by mail-in ballot, by the way, in a state where he and his tax records say he was no longer a full-time resident.
I want my vote to count.
His vote counted, all right, just not where it was supposed to.
I'm sorry, but that's he's got some explaining to do. That's voter fraud. If he says he moved to Alabama at this time, and his tax records show he moved to Alabama at that time, yet he voted in the Florida election 3 months later, that's tax fraud, or voter fraud. Could possibly be tax fraud too, depending on what part of this is telling the truth here. Do we really believe that Tommy Tubberville lives in Alabama? Or do we think Tommy Tubberville lives in Florida and says he lives in Alabama? I don't know the answer to that question. I do know this. If I move to the state of Indiana today, I don't get to vote in Illinois' elections in November. That's not how that shit works. And yet, that's what he did. Tommy Tubberville said, I moved to Alabama at X amount, at such and such a time, in such and such a month, in such and such a year. And here are my tax records to show that I was a resident and paying taxes in Alabama. Okay, fine, perfect, wonderful. How did you vote in Florida then? And if you want to tell me you voted in Florida because you were a resident in Florida, okay, that's still tax fraud because you were a resident. You're not currently a resident there. Did you vote in Alabama too? Did you cast a ballot in 2 different places? Tommy Tubberville has some explaining to do.